Welcome back to the show. You're watching the 49ers Report. I'm Chase Sr., and coming up, the Niners seem to have made a major change within their organization with how they run their football operations. And as we know, for years with this current regime of Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, Jed York, the Niners have operated the same way when it comes to handing out contract extensions to their homegrown players. They have waited forever to get these contract extensions done. And usually the offseason has been the offseason. Niners haven't done a lot of business, and they wait to sign their players to deals right around training camp when business is back. And you think about what has transpired during this regime under Lynch and Shanahan for the last several years. When George Kittle was looking for a contract extension, he didn't get that bag until training camp was well underway. A couple of weeks into training camp, he got signed in August. Fred Warner the following offseason in 2021, late July. Now, there was a little bit of drama with Kittle, no drama at all with Fred Warner that go-around or this go-around, but still, it happened late in the process. Deebo Samuel, there were a lot of social media posts, and there was a lot of drama, and there was a lot of talk, led by Deebo being a little bit dramatic on social media, and he didn't sign his contract extension, which at the time made him a top 10 highest paid wide receiver until training camp was underway. With Nick Bosa, again, no drama, a lot of money at play, but he did not sign his record-breaking contract extension until the Wednesday before the season opener against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Week 1 on Sunday. Last offseason, with Brandon Ayuk and Trent Williams, they didn't sign their deals until right before Week 1. And so when you wait to get these extensions done, a few things happen, right? You end up costing yourselves millions of dollars. For instance, Brandon Ayuk. If the Niners would have signed him earlier last offseason, they could have gotten him around $25 million. He's talked about that. But then the Niners waited. Other wide receivers got paid big-time dollars. The market got reset. That increased Brandon Ayuk's price tag to $30 million per year. In getting deals done early, sometimes you can get a player at 60 or 70% of their market value, especially if you sign them a year ahead of schedule. The Philadelphia Eagles do this all the time. And also, when you wait to get these contracts done and finalized, you take the focus away from football and getting ready for the season. When there is all this noise, and there's all this chatter, and there's all this drama and intrigue with these contracts that lingers into training camp, into preseason, with the regular season not far off in the distance, you're not focused on football. You're focused on trying to get a deal done, and the players who sign those contracts, they're not practicing. They're not getting in football shape, and they're out of shape. Brandon Ayuk looked chubby. Deebo Samuel was a little bit fat. Nick Bosa, he was a fraction and a hair off of where he usually was, which is why he had that sack drought to start the year in 2023. And so your practice sessions where working on plays, play designs, the nuances of plays, timing, precision, feel, getting reps, it's impacted. And you never want this as a business, whether it's in the corporate world, whether it's a sports organization, and you never want this with the friendship or a relationship. Control what you can control. Avoid unnecessary noise and distractions for your organization. Niners didn't do that last year, and it resulted in these ugly back and forths, all of these rumors, all of these reports, all of this uncertainty. The Niners weren't practicing with their full semblance of starters on the field, and it took away again from football. And so I tweeted this out a little bit earlier today. Those of you who are real ones on the show, give me a real one down in the comment section, but you know that I've been saying this, right? The 49ers, I would say, have to look at what the Eagles and Howie Roseman do, and they need to start getting contracts done earlier. By waiting, it's costing them millions of dollars, and it causes unnecessary drama, a lot of headaches and noise, And then the focus during training camp, it's not on ball. Some Niner fans would say, Chase, stop comparing the Niners to the Eagles. Just cover the Eagles then, you fool. What did the 49ers do this offseason? What did they do last year with Deommodore Lenoir? You know what they said? They proved me right. I'm glad they were listening to me. They said, we're going to change our philosophy with how we do business and how we handle contracts, and we have to get these deals done earlier. And so that brings us to where we are right now, right? What have the San Francisco 49ers done? Starting with Deommodore Lenoir last year, in the midst of an ugly season, knowing that he was going to be looking for a contract because he was going to be a free agent. In an ugly season marred by drama a few months earlier due to contracts, when the Niners had cost themselves millions by waiting to pay Brandon Ayuk, the Niners signed Deommodore Lenoir early instead of waiting for free agency when they wouldn't have been able to afford him. And when you sign players early, what happens? You get ahead of the potential market taking off and resetting. That happened and has happened over the last few months. Derek Stingley got paid this offseason. He's making $30 million per year at the quarterback spot. J.C. Horn, he got paid too by Carolina. He is making $25 million per year. Jalen Ramsey still making $24 and a dime. Pat Surtain, the reigning defensive player of the year, he's making $24 million even. Jair Alexander's making 21. A guy like A.J. Terrell is making 20 and a quarter. Denzel Ward at 20 and a dime. Marshawn Lattimore at 19.52. Marlon Humphrey at 19 and a half. Trayvon Diggs at 19.4. You know what other corners have also gotten paid? How about Charvarius Ward getting $20 million per year? How about a guy like DJ Reed getting, I think, $18 million per year? The Niners signed Deommodore Lenoir to this contract, which pays him on average $17.7 million per season. That is a bargain. That is a steal. And Deommodore Lenoir is better than some of the players on this list as the top 10 highest paid cornerbacks in the National Football League. And so before OTAs, what have the Niners done following what they did with Deommodore Lenoir? They have made a major organizational change. They signed George Kittle right after the NFL draft. They signed Brock Purdy last Friday. And then yesterday on Monday, May 19th of 2025, they signed Fred Warner. This is how you do smart business right here, ladies and gentlemen. George Kittle's contract. Trey McBride had gotten paid $19 million. That made him the highest paid tight end in the NFL. So the Niners upped the ante a little bit. They give Kittle 19.1. If they would have waited until after this year and Kittle had a monster season, he could have asked for $20, $25 million, especially if other tight ends get paid. And NFL teams are knowing and cognizant of this, right? The tight end market is a bargain compared to what wide receivers are making, $30, $40 plus million. For Brock Purdy, what if the Niners would have waited and San Francisco won double-digit games, Purdy played well once again, instead of giving him $53 million in AAV, they probably would have had to have paid him $60 million. Now, you can counter that by saying, well, what if Kittle got hurt? You wouldn't have had to pay him. Or you would have paid him less. What if Brock Purdy didn't play well? I don't think that's going to happen with the easy schedule that the Niners have, and it's very important for good businesses to always look ahead. And then with Fred Warner, he gets the 3-year, $63 million deal, $56 million in total guaranteed money, $21 million in average annual value. He had 2 more years left on his contract. If the Niners would have waited to pay Fred Warner in 2 years, we might see linebackers making $22 to $25 million average annual value because the NFL salary cap is going to continue to go up. There's also something to be said for this too, right? You want to keep your core pieces healthy and happy. And you're doing that on and off the field by paying some of the pillars and the leaders of your organization. You don't want to have them disgruntled. You don't want to have them unhappy. You want them all in, focusing on football, continuing to do what they do, which is be great players and leaders of your organization. They have earned those paydays, and you're rewarding them with those paydays. And now that's a good message to other players across the NFL who say, you know what? Niners, they're a pretty damn well-run organization as compared to the place where I am right now. Give me a real one roll call if you enjoyed today's show. Give me a real one down in the comment section. If you want a Niners jersey, get yours today. The Niners today officially announcing the Brock Purdy contract extension. They made their profile picture on X a photo of Brock Purdy. You can get a Brock Purdy jersey at chatsports.com/49jersey. Hoping for a rebound season for Christian McCaffrey. If you want a CMC jersey, you can find one thanks to our friends at Fanatics as well. George Kittle going to be here for the long haul. Nick Bosa, he's under contract for a couple of years. Fred Warner, Mykel Williams, Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, whatever jerseys you want, we got you covered. All you have to do, plug in that link down below. Fanatics knows that Chat Sports, the 49ers Report, and Chase Sr. sent you. If you want some polos, shirts, hoodies, hats, other merchandise for your Niners man cave, you can still use that link down below, and we can get you hooked up.